Donald Trump has fired off an angry tweet over revelations there was high-level talk to have him removed from office. In it, he quotes the views of Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, who happens to be the latest guest on RT's Worlds Apart show, the host of which, Oksana Boyko, joins me live now in the studio. Oksana, good to see you. Now, apparently this talk to have Trump removed focused on the 25th Amendment. Did Dershowitz comment on the legality of this?
Yes, absolutely. We talked a lot about it, and this whole discussion was triggered by the latest revelations by former FBI Deputy Chief Andrew McCabe, who, on record, admitted that the Justice Department officials indeed considered back in 2017 invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Donald Trump from office. Now, that amendment provides for a process of discharging a sitting president if he is mentally or physically incapacitated. But according to Alan Dershowitz, this by no means applies to Trump because he's physically fit. You may disagree with his policies, and a lot of people do, but that is not the ground for invoking this amendment. And according to some people on the Trump side, that was as close as the United States has ever come to an administrative coup when a group of unelected security officials get together and discuss removing a democratically elected president from office, which was, according to Dershowitz, an abuse of power. Well, let's listen to what he had to say.
Terrible abuse of the Constitution. The Constitution provides for impeachment. That's a political, legal remedy. But the 25th Amendment was designed for people who had a stroke, or President Reagan when he was shot. When you're incapacitated, when you're unconscious, when you're unable to be the president, it provides a mechanism for replacing the president with the vice president. It was never intended to be used to rid the country of a president who people don't agree with, or who they think may have committed obstruction of justice or collaboration with Russia.
Well, we know Trump faces more pressure in the form of the ongoing Mueller investigation into alleged Russian collusion. So what did Dershowitz say about this?
He was very critical of the way the Mueller investigation is being carried out, because remember, almost 2 years into this probe, we still don't have a single indictment that relates to the original crime that it was supposed to investigate, which is the collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. We have a number of indictments based on the so-called process crimes, when you arrest a person, when you interrogate him, when you or her, when you essentially set up a moral trap to see if he would lie to the prosecutors. And indeed, a couple of people did, but none of them was or has been charged with being directly involved with the Russians. And one interesting point that Dershowitz makes is that even if Trump administration officials had some contacts with the Russians, having a contact in and of itself is not enough to support the collusion charge.
Well, first of all, even if there were collusion between the Trump campaign and some Russians, that would not be a crime. It's not a crime to collude. It would be a crime only if members of the Trump campaign, or any campaign, urged people in another country to commit a crime like hacking the emails of their opponents, the Democratic National Committee. But there's no evidence of that at all. And I suspect in the end, what they'll find is there was some people in the campaign who had contacts with some people in Russian intelligence, perhaps some contact with WikiLeaks and contact with others, but they're not going to be able to make a case for the government of Russia colluding illegally with the presidential candidate, Donald Trump.
We are running this interview in full this coming Sunday, and I think it raises a number of very interesting points about the length to which some Americans are willing to go to remove Trump from office and what they're willing to sacrifice in the process of doing that, which, according to Dershowitz, is the Constitution and the rule of law.